Hi, my name is Yang, graduate student in sociology. Given the shift from your administration's small yard, high fence approach to industrial policy on strategic technology to Trump's broad tariff and more aggressive trade measures, to what extent do you believe the United States can successfully reindustrialize without undermining its soft power, especially when that industrialization is pursued through coercive or unpredictable trade policies that risk alienating allies and destabilizing global markets?
Yeah, thank you. I think what Trump's doing now most benefits China. It weakens America, weakens our place in the world, and isn't going to do a damn thing to bring manufacturing back. Because it's totally unpredictable, people don't want to invest here. I think the way you bring manufacturing back is like a lot of what we did with the CHIPS Act or the IRA. That is working. And then we want to encourage companies to invest here, incentives that are smart and targeted. And then when I said before, talent. There's like 2 million empty manufacturing jobs in America today. You can't find the talent. So we can and should have a renaissance in manufacturing. I don't think it'll ever be 30% of our GDP again. But tariffing willy-nilly is just going to create mass chaos and, if anything, cause people to invest in other countries, not here. And like you say, piss off our allies.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Chong Hao. I'm a current student of Paris. And I just read about the Chinese foreign minister had a speech on the BRIC meeting that the BRICS countries should jointly oppose all forms of protectionism, firmly safeguard the multilateral trading system based on rules and centered on World Trade Organizations, and safeguard its core values and basic principles. As you stated that America had long positioned itself as a leader of a multilateral trade system based on rule, but under the current administration, do you think China might be able to take that lead and form a closer partnership with other trading partners instead of America?
Yeah, I worry about that. I hope not, because China should not be in the WTO because they don't follow the rules. But what you say is something that keeps me awake at night. You know, you see now, you know, even India, who's a close ally and borders China, is trying to, you know, have some kind of relationship with China. When America doesn't show up, someone said this to me the other day. It used to be we could trust America, and China was a bully. Now we have two bullies. Bully in the White House and a bully in Beijing. But at least the bully in Beijing is reliable. That's very bad. So I do worry about it, but I hope that we can repair what's going on now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kevin from Harris School, and I also got a problem or question for the Chinese EV cars. We know that you got the striking idea or opinion for the Chinese EV cars. You said that last year that if there were 3 million Chinese EV cars on the American road, and the Beijing can get the power to shut them down at the same time. So I want to ask that you cite this on purpose or intentionally, just as through the media, or the second reason is the concern for the censorship or the information leak, or it's just an excuse to surprise the development or the export for the Chinese EV cars?
No, not an excuse at all. In fact, if you think, listen, I think their cars should be tariffed because of what I said. You know, China doesn't, BYD makes a great car, but they make it so cheaply because of illegal Chinese subsidies. So I think they should be tariffed. What I was saying is, a car it's like your iPhone on wheels. And if you had a million Chinese cars in the United States with Chinese software collecting data on where you go, where your kids go, conversations you have in your car, and all that goes back to Beijing, that's dangerous for America. So I think that's a legitimate national security threat, not a trade remedy.
as I say, you were involved in these, thinking through these targeted tariffs and
Yeah.
so on. So talk about the proper use of tariffs and the reckless
Yeah.
use of tariffs.
So, you know, look, there's a place for tariffs. And David knows my personal story. Like, my family's life was massively uprooted because China doesn't play by the rules, subsidizes, undercuts, dumps global steel, dumps their subsidized steel and aluminum on the global market, tanks the price, and it's hurt a lot of American workers, including my father, my uncles, all of our friends. When I was a kid, growing up in Rhode Island in the 80s. It is true, when I was born, like in the early 70s, a third of America's GDP was manufacturing. It's like 10% now, 12%. And that is in large part due to the fact that we allowed ourselves to be taken advantage of by other countries. It isn't just cheap labor. Don't let anyone tell you it's just cheap labor. It's free capital. And so what's my point? My point is free trade is fine if every country plays by the rules. But when countries don't play by the rules, and the biggest offender is China, and they subsidize workers, subsidize capital, subsidize manufacturing, American workers get hurt. And so what do you do about it? You do, you know, when President Trump, and I don't like anything about him, but when he campaigned, he said targeted tariffs, reciprocal tariffs, and he was talking about, you know, 10% to 60%. Now he's come in and just thrown a bomb. But
targeted meant on this planet.
Yeah, on this planet,
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
so, you know, targeted tariffs. When you drive in Europe, you don't see a lot of American cars. They're massively tariffed. So, you know, you drive in China, you don't see a lot of American cars. BYD makes a gorgeous car. The entire supply chain for BYD was subsidized by the Chinese government. Not fair. So the concept of sticking up for the American worker and sticking up for American manufacturing is a good one. But doing it in a way that is like thoughtful, targeted, makes sense, legal, within the president's authority, that's the way to do it.
And what do you think the ramifications of the way he's done it are now?
I think it's, listen, I try to be positive, but if he continues to go this way, I think the ramifications are big-time recession, certainly in the US, if not globally. And even more than that, people won't trust America. So when we were in office,
Seems like a long time ago.
yeah, can you believe it? It's crazy. People say to me, well, you know, what are you doing next? I'm like, it's only been a few months, but it feels like forever ago. Anyway, when we were in office, people would say, do you want to decouple from China? And I would always say, no, that's ridiculous. We want to trade with China, et cetera. But we would always say we want to de-risk. Now people are saying, let's de-risk from the United States. We don't want to put too much investment in the United States. We don't want to rely on the United States too much for our national defense. Like, we've become unreliable, untrustworthy. And so the ramifications of that, I think, are quite long-standing. And you know what? My view is the world is safer when America is strong and leads. If America leaves a vacuum on the world stage because we're not trusted, who's going to fill that vacuum?
So, you know, you talk about the 1,000 ideas. Give me a few that would sort of profoundly change that trajectory that has seen us grow as polarized economically as we've been in a century.
Yeah. So the thing you just said is very true, and we all know this, but I don't think I don't think our democracy can survive a capitalism that's playing out as it is today. I really don't. It's good to be rich. It's American to want to get rich. It's good to have a business that wants to be successful. And Democrats have made a huge mistake in not acknowledging that. But at the end of the day, you know, some simple things have to happen, like raise taxes on the ultra wealthy and make investments in schools, infrastructure, training, et cetera. It's just
I'm assuming the
has
rest
to
of you who didn't
happen.
applaud are among the ultra wealthy. So.
Exactly. But it's just, I could go on all day and I won't. We've come to a place where people who have so much money are utterly detached from the rest of us. It's not just because they're richer. They don't fly commercial. They don't send their kids to public school. They don't go to the public park. This is bad for democracy and civic engagement. It's an utterly different American experience. Two different Americas. Didn't you invent that?
Yeah, well, I may have had, anyway.
But, you know, so like one thing is, you know, it used to be, okay, fine, the CEO of my dad's company made a lot more money than my dad. But probably took the subway once in a while, you know, didn't have 7 homes all over the world. So some redistribution, and it is as simple as more taxes and redistribution must happen if we're going to survive. I just really believe it.